Good morning. Welcome to Tim's live broadcast. That's just the name right now, that because we actually haven't came up with a title. This is our second day. This is day 2. So I am honored and grateful that you took the time out and watch our video yesterday. We had actually 12 viewers. You know, I'm from the South, so excuse my grammar a little bit. But I am so excited today that this is the day that the Lord has made. And I'm blessed and I'm glad that He allowed me to do another live broadcast. It's live, so there's no editing, there's no... It's just straightforward. Well, today's topic. Well, what happened today? I came to work today and I worked with this guy, Batista. Oh yeah, you saw him on here yesterday.
He was in the previous video.
He was in the previous video. He came in a little late. He was on break, you know. But today, for some reason, we missed it because we were arguing. We were fussing at each other today. Don't you actually know that we actually got into an argument? That was the first one, I think. Or the first, yeah. So we'll call that the first one. You know, when you work with somebody for a long period of time, for a while, you know, you start to have disagreements, and sometimes disagreements turn into confusement, and confusement lead to something else. But he's an atheist, and I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's going to be more of what we're going to be talking about.
Okay, they can't see
most. They could hear me though, so that's cool.
He's over there. He's working. I'm actually working. I'm typing. Well, no, I'm not typing. I'm not actually working. But hopefully nobody sees this. Nobody that's, well, you know what I'm saying. But anyway.
Yeah. We're trying to keep it on the DL.
He's an atheist, but he has Christian values.
That's a really good. Okay, let me say something real quick. That's interesting you brought that up because I had a conversation recently with a believer, and we got on the topic of where do you get your moral code, like a moral compass. How do you decide what's right and wrong? And to me, all I need to do to decide what's right and wrong is see what my actions are, notice people's reactions to my actions, and decide that probably not a good thing that I'm doing, whatever it is that I'm doing, or I'm not making that person feel very good, so I should probably not do it. That's just the basis of how I decide what's right and wrong. That's, you know, I don't think that you need to be a believer to have a moral or ethical code. You know what I mean? Just, you could decide on it between what's right and what's wrong clearly in reality.
Yeah.
Side note. But I'm sure your view is different.
My thing is Jesus is love, you know. And, you know, our thing is to try to be like Jesus. I mean, knowing that we can't be exactly like Him because He's perfect. And that's what I believe. And if we're trying to be like Jesus and Jesus is love, that's who set the example for us, for me, and, you know, people that are like me. But we know we still have this human flesh, and we're trapped in a world of sin. So we have to, it's all about loving people. And it's kind of what He says. If you love somebody, you'll care about their feelings. And we're supposed to love everybody. There's not supposed to be a distinct difference between I love this person more or that person more. It's supposed to be a love for everyone. And that involving watching what you say to people or hurting people's feelings or things like that. So, but today, I came in, we had a dispute. And I expressed myself to him. And I told him how I felt. Which I probably shouldn't have used certain words. I called him selfish. And I told him he was being disrespectful. But it's not that I called him selfish or told him he was disrespectful. It was just the manner and demeanor that I said it because I was upset. I let anger got the best of me. And I said it in a meaningful way that hurt his feelings. I'm not sure if it hurt his feelings, but it made him feel some type of way, which caused him to be angry back at me. And it caused confusion. But you know, most people would, you know, most men, most non-believers, most believers and non-believers, they probably would get into a fight or get into an argument. But today, a Christian and atheist, we actually apologize to one another.
Yeah.
You know, I actually, you know, me being a Christian, I initiated first. So,
Sure did.
you know, we actually apologized to one another. You know, I told him that I was wrong for how I said it and what I said, but I was just expressing my feelings. That I shouldn't express my feelings the way I did. I should have did it in a better manner or more respectful manner. So, in the aspect, I was being disrespectful to him. So, but he is a good guy. He's a really good guy at heart, and you know, I think I'm a good guy sometimes. I know I fall short, but it's all about when you do someone wrong or you do something to offend someone, you should be man enough or woman enough to apologize or to accept the responsibilities of what you did and be the better person. But he actually apologized to me, guys, because when he apologized to me, I think he had it on his heart wanted to do the same thing too. But I guess I kind of beat him to the punch.
It was more of a. I guess I feel like all men are aggressive or combative in nature at certain times, and I feel like the way that when we had that argument, it kind of just escalated way too fast for me personally. So it wasn't we just had a conversation about what was going on. It kind of just I don't know if it was the mood that I was in or maybe the mood that you were in, but it almost went straight to a battle without conversating about what we were arguing about in the first place. So sometimes I kind of absorb that. I'm like a sponge, so I immediately react without thinking, I guess. And I feel like everybody does that. That's why I felt like I should have apologized too. And what kind of a man would I be if I didn't accept an apology and also grant an apology? Because there's always two sides to everything, pretty much no matter what. Yeah. Unless it's clear that it's one-sided, but most of the time it's never really one-sided. Because if it's not like he came at me for no reason at all. There was a reason why he felt that way. But he could have taken it a little bit further, and so could have I. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. But most of the time, both people should agree to, I guess, apologize to each other. You know what I mean? It's never one-sided. Usually not one-sided.
Yeah, it's definitely not one-sided at all. And I know you out there, you listeners out there, I know you had problems you bump heads with friends. I wouldn't say had problems, bump heads with friends. But how did you handle it? Did you just continue to hold a grudge against that person?
That'll eat you alive.
Yeah. Then that person might not even be still holding a grudge against you. And then your life is just miserable because you're holding a grudge against someone and you can't sleep at night. You're depressed or you're feeling some type of way because someone did you wrong or you felt that someone did you wrong. And you probably did them wrong in the same manner and didn't even know that you offended them. Somebody has to be the person to step up and say, I am sorry.
Yeah.
I offended you.
I appreciated that, by the way, because you brought it up first, which is easier on my conscience. Because I can't always do that.
I mean, you look at it, as a Christian, we say we should love everybody no matter what. Somebody has to start setting an example. Somebody has to start behaving like that. I'm not saying that it's never gonna happen again. I'm pretty sure he's from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And he's Italian. I'm from the South and I'm black. We came from two different backgrounds.
So opposite.
Yeah, so we're totally opposite, so we're gonna have a lot of disagreements. But the thing is how do you handle those disagreements when they come? I have to respect him and be open-minded and listen to him, then put myself in his shoes to see how he feels, and he has to be receptive of the same thing. Put himself in my shoes and see how I feel, so we can understand that we're not the same, but we do have one thing in common. We do love people.
Yeah. And we could be a cohesive unit regardless of our differences.
Right. Just imagine if everyone could get along. You know, I ain't say everybody could agree, but everyone could just get along. and just work together. Just imagine how better the world could be. And we can do that just in this little office, and just start just us two, and then you can do the same thing and start forgiving people and start loving on people no matter what. The world could be a better place.
Sure can. I heard something interesting in this podcast where it said, I don't remember verbatim how it went, but it was basically touching on if I accuse you, for example, if I accuse you of being a certain way in a negative nature,
right?
That can possibly and probably be more of a reflection of my own inner insecurities, and therefore I'm passing judgment on you. And it might not be the case, but it's like a reflection of how I'm feeling, but I'm using you as the example, even though you might not be the most fit or correct example. It's like I'm throwing it out on you when it's really my own insecurities, which was pretty interesting.
And a lot of times with some, I heard too, when if you can see something bad in someone else, that's because it's already bad inside of you.
It's like when somebody is in an abusive relationship, or not even that only. It's like if a child grows up with an abusive parent, a father or a mother, they're most likely going to project that on their children later on, because they didn't have control when they were young, and they always wanted that control. And then they gain that control by being abusive with their girlfriend, or if it's a female with their boyfriend, or with their kids, however, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, generational curses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow, that's pretty good.
You know what I mean? So it's just like you should always, when you're judging someone or looking at, if you're trying to, basically, always think about how you feel about yourself, or the reality of who you are before you project something on someone else.
Right.
Think about it, especially think about something before you say it, because you'll never be able to take it back. You could always make amends and make it right in a way, but that will always be out there. It'll always be out there. Once it's said or once it's done, it's over.
Can't come back, yeah.
You can make amends and make it better, but
it's always out there.
It's always out there. That did happen. You know what I mean?
Right. And
you get past it. You know what I mean? Or grow from it.
Yeah. Just have. Well, my theory, my belief is that we should forgive and forget. Mm-hmm. Once I say I'm sorry, and then you say you're sorry, I'm supposed to forgive you and forget about it, and not even bring it up again. But we're just bringing it up to show an example of how you can have a disagreement and have a confusion, but you still can make amends with one another, and still be able to work together and still love one another.
That's pretty smart that you use that as the topic of today's podcast. That was really cool.
Yeah, I told you it was an everyday experience. You know, maybe God had, maybe my God had, you know, a divine.
Yeah.
My God does things, and you know, He does things for a purpose.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and what came to mind was, a couple weekends ago, my son, we was at my aunt's house, and we had a house full of kids. And my son, he's 17, but in the house was a lot of kids that looked up to him. And I was telling him to do something, and he refused to do it, and he started being disrespectful and disobedient, but mostly disobedient. And I was mad at him because he didn't do what I told him to do, but I was mad at him because the younger kids looked up to him and respected him because he's such a humble kid. Mm-hmm. But at this moment in particular time, he had a bad moment. Yeah. And he let his anger get the best of him. So what I did was I got on him and talked to him about it, and I made him apologize to the whole room of people for his actions. I mean, because he could have handled it a different way. But if I as a father makes him do that, I as a father have to be able to do the same thing. I have to be able to practice what I preach and not just preach it and not do it or not live it. Because we have a lot of people, and you know, even a lot of church folks, they say they preach love, they preach,
but they don't show it.
Yeah, the Bible says don't talk about it, be about it. So we're gonna talk about doing these things, and we have to start applying these things to our everyday life. So I'm gonna talk about love and talk about loving everyone. I have to start showing that. I have to start doing it. And
it's a lot easier to convey that message by showing it rather than just saying, "Oh, this is how it's got to be," or whatever.
Now he has to go because the
Always
bell
show.
rang.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
But we're about to end this. We over our 15-minute break limit. So just want to tell you guys, girls, and people out there, let's start loving one another. Stop showing so much hate, envy, pride, jealous against our fellow brothers and sisters. Everyone's our brothers and sisters. Everyone we're supposed to love. So we gotta stop hating. Hate is killing us. So I can start, Batista can start, you can start. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. No, Monday. Antoine was in a meeting. We're not gonna tell you what type of meeting he was in, but he was in a meeting, so he couldn't make the podcast today. We love you. Peace out. God bless.